perfect time to create the first of my long-planned lore series from World of Warcraft, my absolute favorite game of all time. As you might see, I have made a little book that I have all the lore in I want to go through, covering different topics from the World of Warcraft universe. Today we will be going through the probably most iconic two races of the World of Warcraft universe, which began the World of Warcraft series, which are the humans and the orcs. Humans are both proud and ambitious, seeking comfort and glory to change the world around them. The race of humans is one of the youngest races on Azeroth, with their history rediscovered and rewritten throughout the years. During the earliest years of documented knowledge from Azeroth, the early humans was described to have lived a nomadic life in tribes, wandering from place to place as the seasons changed, or the hunting became lean. It wasn't until the rise of the Arathi that they began to form within one nation. They founded the fortified city of Strom, today known as Stromgarde Keep. And as they grew, so did they gain attention of the High Elves who, like them, were suffering brutal attacks from the trolls. As allies, they beat back the trolls, and the High Elves began to teach their newfound friends the way of magic. With time, the human also came in contact with the dwarves, and while the dwarves were initially unsure of this strange new people, they developed a strong bond of friendship. After several centuries of peace, however, the increasingly prosperous and independent city-states of Arathor split into separate kingdoms: Gilneas to the west, Alterac, Dalaran, and Lordaeron to the northwest, Kultiras to the southwest, and Stormwind to the far south. All mentioned kingdoms is or was placed in the eastern kingdoms. Later discovered history of the human race shows that the humans are descended from the barbaric half-giants Rykel from Northrend, born weak and deformed as a result of the curse of flesh by the old god Yogg-Saron. They had to be exterminated to keep the Rykel race pure. But not all Rykel could bear to kill their children, and they took them away to a land far from Northrend, in the northern eastern kingdoms. The largest city back then was still Strom, until it was renamed as Stormgarde and remained significantly powerful. But disaster struck when the Orcish horde appeared on Azeroth, reducing Stormwind to ruins during the First War. The city's survivors, including the back then young prince Varian Bryn, fled to Lordaeron, where the leaders of the Seven Kingdoms resolved to unify once again in the Alliance of Lordaeron. Joined together, they succeeded in defeating the Horde during the Second War. Tensions grew among the kingdoms as the cost for maintaining the alliance rose much higher than originally anticipated. The leaders of Gilneas and Stromgard chose to withdraw their kingdoms. Further disaster came when the kingdoms of Lordaeron was decimated by a mysterious plague that killed thousands of humans and converted them into undead servants of the Lich King. Since the fall of Lordaeron, the kingdom of Stormwind has become the strongest bastion of humanity and the most powerful force in a now multiracial alliance led by King Anduin Wrynn, who succeeded his father Varian Wrynn. The noble humans of Stormwind are a proud, tenacious race nestled in the foothills of Hellwind Forest, ruled by the King Anduin Wrynn, who at the previous years was a child king. The people of Stormwind remain steadfast in their commitment to the Grand Alliance. Backed by their stalwart allies, the armies of Stormwind have been called away to fight the savage horde on distant battlefields. With the armies gone, the defense of Stormwind now falls to its proud citizens. You must defend the kingdom against the foul mongrels that encroach upon it and hunt down the subversive traitors who seek to destroy it from within. Now is the time for heroes. Now humanity's greatest chapter can be written. Your first day as a human. A light breeze blows throughout the trees. The smells of freshly cut wood and baked goods drift from just throughout the woods. The sun is shining and it's just warm enough for a refreshing glass of water or lemonade. Such is life at the heart of the human lands where the guards patrol the roads and train daily. Hellwind Forest is the pleasant home of Stormwind City and a basket of human civilization in the east, surrounded by settled farms, lumber mills and mines. It's no wonder where the humans get their grand ideas of a peaceful future. Northshire is one of the first places adventurers are sent to train. Here is where you begin your journey as a human. In the Abbey are veterans of many trades and walks of life to help you grow. The merchants outside understand who they are dealing with and sell many weapons and armor designed for the newly enlisted. Few of the problems here are terribly dangerous and most make for good practice of skills that keep you alive elsewhere. Appearance. Humans are 5 to 6 feet tall, strong and healthy. Human skin ranges from dark to light and may have tones of other colors. Their eyes are blue, brown, green, grey or hazel. Human hair is brown, black, blonde or red. Men often grow short beards and women commonly wear their hair long. Hair becomes grey or white with sickness or age. Human culture. Humans prefer to live in villages, towns and cities. Human cities are extremely large, bustling and lively. Outside city walls, in the countryside, the human peasantry provides basic resources to the rest of the kingdom. The peasants' farms, mines and shops wood. In the city, merchants trade goods, while craftsmen practice and perform their trades, and businessmen provide services. At the top of the social hierarchy are the nobility, who sit within their castles, making important political decisions on the running of the kingdoms. Languages. Humans have touched so many others that they have created a legacy of cooperation and communication for the coming generations to enjoy. As one of the first races to work toward bring other races together in harmony, the native language of humans, common, has been adopted as a global language for communication between races. While children of other races spend the time to master a second language, human children spend time learning about gnomish engineering, dwarven crafting, and night elf magic, and the racial traits. Perception. Having enemies around them for so long, humans have become very good at peering into the shadows around them to see what lies hidden. The human spirit. Partly romantic nonsense and partly truth. The unbreakable human spirit helps them to recover from many attacks more quickly. Diplomacy. While not the first race to interact with others, humans have a gift for establishing long friendships and other trade agreements. Swords and mace specialization. With so many devoted to material pursuits, humans hold many competitions where combatants can test their skills without risking their life. Faith. Humans revere the holy light, who became a central part of all civilized human society as their primary religion and staple of worship, respect and honor. The Church of the Holy Light is the religious institution at the head of this predominant human religion and plays a significant role in all human societies. That was the lore of the humans in World of Warcraft, or as I should say, a lot of the original lore before the recent expansions. But now it is time to read about the Orcs. Orcs are large and terrifying to their enemies, but after numerous wars, the Orcs seek peace and a return to their shamanic heritage. Native to the world of Draenor, now known as the Shattered Realm of Outland, the Orc was originally shamanic people cultivating a primitive clan-based society. The race of Orcs have a long and complex history of their heritage and evolution. The Orcish lineage can be traced back to Grond, the enormous stone giant. The children of Grond were called the Colossals, and from the remains of the Colossals, the new race of Magnaron emerged. The early primitive life on Draenor was not peaceful, with the stone giants fighting against the invasive plant-like spore mounds from overtaking the planet. Spores clung to the weakened Magnaron's bodies and turning them into flesh. Some Magnarons develop into beings called Gron, and an even smaller number of Gron devolved into the Ogron. Over thousands of years, the spores transforms the Ogron into the Ogre race, from whom would arise yet another race, the Orcs, the smallest and weakest of Gron's line. The Orcs made up for what they lacked in size and strength, with a fierce intellect and a sense of community. Pilgriming Orcs would travel to the northwestern mountains of Nagran, unbeknownst to be the final resting place of Grond, a place infused with elemental energies. The first visitors would learn about the world's primordial spirits of fire, air, earth and water. The Orcs flocked to the remains of Grond and learned to guide the elemental spirits with a sense of harmony, and in return received astonishing powers unlike ever seen by Orcs before. This later became the shamanistic teachings. After investigation of the world of Draenor, the powerful demon Kil'jaeden tricked the head shaman Ner'zhul by appearing as a spirit of an orc ancestor. He convinced Ner'zhul that the race of Draenei's were conspiring against the orcs and were planning on attacking. Finding the orcs to be a race worth molding into a driving force of bloodlust, Kil'jaeden began to corrupt them, turning them from their shamanistic ways towards the powers of the warlocks. The powerful shaman Ner'zhul was seduced by the power of Kil'jaeden and all the demon offered, and it was not long before he led his people against the peaceful Draenei, destroying many of them. Despite the power of Kil'jaeden had over Ner'zhul, he couldn't quite convince him to give the orcs completely over to the power of the Burning Legion. He instead recruited a new, more corruptible young orc named Gul'dan. Gul'dan became an avid student and a powerful warlock amongst his people. In time, Gul'dan, under manipulation of Kil'jaeden, maneuvered all of the orc clans into partaking in a ritual that would make them indebted slaves to the Burning Legion and give them a bloodlust they could not quench. He then opened a portal into Azeroth, where the will of the Burning Legion was once again loosed upon the denizens of the land. For 10 years, the orcs made war upon the human kingdoms of Stormwind and Lordaeron, though the horde was ultimately defeated and subjugated by the humans. A visionary young war chief named Thrall rose to lead his people in the darkest hour. Under Thrall's rule, the orcs freed themselves from the chains of demonic corruption and embraced the shamanistic heritage. After breaking free from the human slave camps and wandering for several years, the orcs have finally founded their own kingdom in the harsh wastelands of Durotar, based in the warrior city of Orgrimmar. They stand ready to destroy all who would challenge their supremacy. As a proud defender of Durotar, it is your duty to crush your enemies, both seen and unseen, for the nefarious agents of the Burning Legion still wanders the land. Your first day as an orc. Durotar is mostly a desert region with the capital city of Orgrimmar to the north, the river to the west and ocean to the east and south. Caverns and crags wind their way through the rocky terrain, creating havens for those seeking to strike at newcomers. Even the lush island chain to the southeast houses Sealing Town. Durotar is the new homeland for the orcs and the trolls on the continent of Kalimdor. It was Thrall who led the orcs to this new desolate land and began to rebuild what his people had lost. Thrall rescued the trolls as well as the remnants of the Darkspear tribe, have also taken up residence in Durotar. Though chosen for its desolate and arid climate, enemies still lurk in the crags and caves of Durotar. In the Valley of Trials, Kaltunk has been assigned to greet all upcoming additions to the Horde armies. His primary duty is to set you on the path to finding your place in the world. Appearance. Orcs are approximately 6 feet tall, with muscular physiques. Males have very long and unusual facial hair. Females have eclectic hairstyles and unusual piercings. All orcs have some variations of green skin, not including the Maghar or Fell orcs. Culture. Orcish society has always been characterized by hardy and rugged living. As a result, they are staunch pragmatists and never shy from killing if it will protect the future of the orc or his or her clan. All orcs, regardless of their gender or station, are expected to pull their own weight, and weakness is considered a grave liability. The weakness of one contaminates the strength of all, and it is punishable by the greatest humiliation an orc can receive: exile. Orcs prize honor over all other things in life. First, to bring honor to their clan, and by extension the horde, and secondly, bringing honor to the self and to their sense of self-worth as an individual. Language. From a young age, orcs are trained to keep themselves and those they care about safe. Many learn to walk at the same time they hold their first weapon. With such a martial upbringing and so little time between wars, orcs have had little time to learn any languages beyond their own. It is fortunate that the rest of the horde are so accommodating that the orcish has become the common language between the races of the horde. Racial traits. Blood fury. Screaming throughout the veins of orc runs a fury that is monstrous when called upon and dangerous to be on the wrong side of. Hardiness. Surviving the wars against the human kingdoms and the lands of Durotar have left the orcs more resistant to certain attacks. Command. Having been at the command of others before, orcs have first-hand knowledge of what works and what doesn't. And finally, the axe specialization. The tree cutting hasn't been for naught. Orcs have become very adept in the use of axes. Spirituality. As far back as orcish history has been recorded, shamans have been mentioned, and learning to speak with the elemental spirits of Draenor was a pivotal achievement in the destiny of the orc clans. Orc instinctively revere the rugged forces of the natural elements, and as such shamans are held in high regard. They generally have a close relationship with the nature elements, and angering them is considered a grave offense. That was it for today. I truly hope you enjoy this first part of my World of Warcraft lore series. It's been really bad weather, a lot of heavy rain outside, and it's hard to get good lighting in here. I really hope you enjoy this content, and if you would like to see more, feel free to support me on my page.